What's up, everyone? Yuri here. Welcome back to Between the Ears, our special weekly session with the results coaches. I'm here with Steph, Amy, and Jackie. I hope you guys are all doing great. We are going to be talking about, in this episode, why worrying doesn't serve you and 3 ways to overcome it. Because worry is one of those things that it just doesn't feel good, right, on a daily basis, to have that gnawing feeling in your stomach. And it doesn't really help you. It paralyzes you. It doesn't help you move forward. It changes your point of focus, and really nothing good comes from worry. But I think the tendency really is just, it's a habit that we've just grooved into our brain for so long, whether it's been the way we were brought up and we kind of modeled our parents or whatever, and it's just a habit. It really is just a habit that we have to change. So I want to get the gals into the discussion here, and we're going to jump right into this. First and foremost, why don't we talk really quickly about how you guys see worry come up in either the check-in calls with our clients or even on the front end with prospective clients. Jackie, do you want to start?
Yeah, I always tell people, and Stephanie, you'll probably laugh because she's heard me say this multiple times in our coaching groups. Worrying is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but gets you nowhere. It gets you nowhere, right? Keeps you busy, and it keeps you busy in the wrong focus or area. In our calls, I notice, especially on the front end, people, especially as soon as they enroll, they're like, I'm nervous, I'm scared, I'm excited, I'm worried, and I'm like, okay, great. All of that is just energy, right? So you can choose to, chase yourself in your own head and worry about what could go wrong, or are you good enough, or is this the right thing for me, or la, 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 right? Or you can choose to think differently, right? So you can take that same type of energy and put a positive spin on it. Like, this is exciting, this is new, I have generous amount of support, I'm going to trip and fall, but guess what? There's going to be people to catch me and help me figure out how to get back up and do things the right way, right? So, worry is just funny to me because it creeps in, and it is like a groove, Yuri, like you hit the nail on the head, just like a river through a canyon, right? It keeps flushing, and the more the water keeps flowing in that area, the groove gets deeper and deeper. But thankfully, you have coaching to help remove or fill in with new mindset chips, trips, tactics, traits, strategies, etc., right?
Well, you brought up something really interesting, which is people get that worry sinks in almost once they've committed, once they're in. Then there's that day or two where they go to bed, they're like, did I make the right decision? And guys, you have to understand, this is part of what we call the client journey. This is something I teach in our Luminaries Masterminds, where you have to understand the different emotions people go through at different stages of the buying cycle or of the journey. And one of the most dangerous / important times of that journey is right when people enroll. What happens right away? And this is something that we're conscious of, and this is something that hopefully, if we work together over and over and over again over the coming months, that you guys will start to clue into, is that when people enroll with you, what you do in that first 24 hours is really important to reaffirm their decision, because they're going to go through what you're feeling, right, if you're working with us when you started initially. So Jackie, thanks so much for bringing that up, because that really, really is an important thing for everyone to remember. Steph, what about you? With you've done such an amazing job with helping our clients overcome all sorts of stuff on the coaching side. How do you see this show up for them?
So what I think happens a lot is that I think we're sort of in a little bubble. Like the people who are in this group, and even entrepreneurs and people like us who work from home, nobody in our families, nobody in our lives really understands this entrepreneurial journey that we're on, especially like Facebook ads and doing this. And especially if you're in a brick and mortar business and then you're like, I'm going to do this online thing, and people are like, you're crazy. So you start to take on other people's thoughts and worries as your own. And then on top of that, you're in this little bubble by yourself at your desk, like, oh my God, does this suck? Is this good? Is it bad? So generally when I hop on with people, and I really encourage you guys, if you're feeling any kind of worry or fear, anything like that, just hop on a call with one of us, because literally in 15 minutes, all of a sudden people hop off like, yes, I'm going in the right direction. I feel amazing. Yay. And it's just funny when we hop on, because they're like, oh my God, is my perfect client pipeline right? Is my webinar right? Are these slides right? Is my title right? And it's like, none of the stuff that you guys are worrying about even matters. It's all about just moving forward and putting one foot in front of the other. But worry, just like Jackie said, is like that rocking chair where it's like, is this title slide right? Is this title slide right? Is this right? Is that right? And you're going nowhere. You're moving forward. And if you can just say, okay, this is the best that I can do right now. I got some great advice from the copy coaches. I don't know if this is perfect, but perfect doesn't exist. So I'm just going to go with it and try it and see what happens. And then you get the data and then you find out if it works. So anyways, worry is definitely something that I think a lot of people in this group, because they've invested time, effort, and energy into something, and they're hoping for a great result. And I think we're going to talk about some strategies on how to get over this, but it's important to just understand that you have to move forward. And if you find yourself stuck, because I have noticed a couple people kind of fall out of the group where it's like, and I'm actually going to reach out to some of these people in the next couple of days, because it's almost like they get so worried, they don't reach out for help, and then they just disappear. And that's something that you don't want to do, because that's really your subconscious mind holding you back from greatness. It's your subconscious mind getting stuck in that groove, like Jackie was saying, in the canyon of just not moving forward. It's actually easier not to move forward than it is to move forward. That's why there's not, hundreds and hundreds of multi-billionaires and millionaires, because there's just, most people won't do it. Most people won't do it. They freak out too much.
It's inertia as well, right? It's easier to worry and continue that energy than it is to stop it in its tracks and walk uphill with a boulder on your back and then build that inertia or that momentum. But guys, it's a choice either way. And like, we have these coaching calls for our clients for a very specific reason, because every single time, and we get the reports, we share all this stuff as a team. Person came in, they're feeling this, and this, and within 15 minutes they have more clarity, direction, and confidence. How did they do that? How does that happen? Well, we've got a secret sauce that we do within our coaching, and you just have to understand, if someone can go from that overwhelmed, worrying type of feeling, and in 15 minutes go from that to clarity and confidence, well, that's pretty amazing, right? So you don't have to spend months worrying about stuff before you change direction. Like, it can happen in an instant, but it does help to have the right coaching. It does help to have the right framework to really redirect your focus. And that's why we're here to help you guys. And that's why we don't offer this as a course. That's why I don't really recommend anyone sell a course. Because left to their own devices, human beings are going to go into their habitual ways of thinking. This doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. I can never do this, whatever. And it's just all bullshit, right? But if that's the way you're thinking, if that's the way you're habitually, been thinking forever, that's what's going to happen for you, right? So yes, that's awesome. Thanks. Okay, let's kind of shift gears and talk about. We know that worry isn't helpful. It's not really moving us in the right direction. Let's talk about 3 ways to address this. And I'll quickly go back to you, Steph, and then I'll open it up to Amy. You had mentioned something before, which I think is really important as the first step. The first step to overcoming worry, and I'll let you take that first one.
Yeah, so I think, we talk about our topics beforehand, and I really was thinking, what's one thing that somebody can do to really help them move forward? And I think when you come into this program or anything in life, you have to expect some uncertainty and accept it. So expect it and accept it, and understand that uncertainty can either derail you and cause you to go down this negative pathway, doom, death and destruction pathway, or it can allow you to say, you know what, I knew this was going to happen, but this is just part of the course. I'm going to keep going anyway. I'm going to keep going anyway, even though there's really nothing I can do to control this. I've done everything that I can to put it in place. So, for example, with your Facebook ads, you've done the best that you can with your webinar, right? I know that you guys have. You've done the best that you can with your copy, all of that stuff. But really, it's in the hands of the consumer to find out whether all of this works. But that's okay. There's some uncertainty there, but you've done your best. And as long as you've done your best, and it's all about intention. Is your intention right? Is your intention pure? That's all you can really rely upon, is really your intention. And which I know you guys all have great intentions, you want to help people. You can't get a better and higher intention than that. So just understand that that's what's most important. And then the other thing too is that if you slip into, oh my gosh, we get into very black and white thinking where it's like all good or all bad, and there's so much gray area in between, and that's kind of where that uncertainty part fits in, is in the gray. So it doesn't mean that it's all bad, and it doesn't mean that it's all good. It just means that it's right in the gray area, and you've got to kind of let it play out to find out where it's going to go.
Yeah, that's awesome. So step one, guys, is expect and accept uncertainty. And just like there's so many great analogies from nature. Is it sunny every single day of the year? Not where I live. I mean, maybe if you live in Phoenix, 300 days, but you still have seasons. There are seasons in this world. There are seasons in life. There are seasons in business, right? There's going to be a season where, maybe there's a bit of turmoil, right? And that's part of the process. Whatever goes up is going to come down. So if you've got an amazing run, hey, set the intention, enjoy that. That's all great. But understand that if it comes down, don't freak out. Okay? Expect it. It's not always, if we look at, again, another example, the stock market. If you look at a stock market chart over the past 100 years, is it a straight line up? No. It's up and down, depression, boom, all this kind of stuff. So why should we think, or why should we get upset when our business is any different? Right? Because the stock market is a reflection of human psychology. Right? Stock market is human behavior. Oh, I'm like freaking out, I'm going to sell my stocks. Or I feel good, I'm going to buy stuff. It's exactly the same thing in business. So you can't just accept it. Just accept it. It's part of the process and keep moving forward. Amy, what's the second thing we can do to help overcome worry?
The second thing that we can really do is remember again, why did you enroll? What do you want? What is your dream come true outcome? Right? We talk about building your dream come true system for your clients. You've enrolled with us because we have a dream come true system for you. So you're following this and you enrolled because there's something that you want on the outcome. We talk with folks in the beginning. What do you want over the next 6 to 12 months? What type of an income do you want to command? What kind of an impact do you want to have? What kind of a lifestyle do you want to live? So go back to that. Go back to that perfect vision in the pre-work. If you're working with us, don't skip that. Don't just click complete. Go back to that perfect life vision, because when you focus on what you want, that uncertainty and the fear, you can reframe that as excitement. And that's something I admit. I was like, every time my heart would start to pound, I felt like, oh my gosh, I need to, do something to relax. I'm having a panic attack. And it wasn't a panic attack. It was just going to the next level. And I didn't know what that was. And it was unknown. So I was like, oh gosh, I have to stop this. You don't have to stop that. Let that run. You're going in the right direction. So reframe your thoughts about your feelings and really use that as a guidepost. And like Stephanie said and Jackie said, when you lean in, because our promise to you, our 100% success guarantee is that we've got this amazing framework. What makes us different? People ask us that all the time. It's the amazing support and the simple step-by-step framework. So all you need to do is follow the framework and lean in. And then we're going to go to the ends of the earth for you and meet you halfway, right? So we're going to meet you there. You're going to lean in for the support. Don't disappear. Everyone's scared. Don't get paralyzed. Just remember, why are you doing this, right? If you've ever jumped out of an airplane or done a Spartan race or whatever, your birthed a baby at home, there are moments where you're like, holy crap, am I going to make it? But you know what that outcome is, and you know that you're going to make it. So it's the same thing with your perfect client pipeline. You enrolled because you knew. Most of the people we speak with, it's a feeling. Yeah. So that's what what lots of folks that I've been speaking with on the front end, they just felt something. They felt a connection with Yuri's webinar. They felt a connection with the process. They hadn't spoken with us yet. It's the same thing for you guys. So focus on the outcome of what you want and stay aligned with that. And don't take that as panic. Take that as excitement that you're moving in the direction that you're supposed to be. So that's, I think would be number 2, is just stay focused on what you want, not on what you don't want. And then ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen, right?
For sure. Well, I think her T-shirt says it all, right? If you guys are not on video, she's wearing T-shirts that says "Life is good, forecast mostly sunny." Guys, you have to. It's really you have to trick your brain into thinking like this, because again, we're so deeply ingrained to think in what's the worst that can happen here, thinking about that stuff. And if you think about a parent, right? I'll just use my mom as an example, because when we were young, and maybe people watching this who have older kids, once your kids start driving and they're out doing their thing, you could lay in bed worrying all night about what happens if this happens, what could happen here. You could live like that and drive yourself insane. But again, how is that helping you to lay in bed and worry about something you have zero control over? And I think that's another thing too, guys, is, it's only focus on the things you can control. Things that are out of your control, you can't worry about them. It's like, oh my God, is it going to rain today? Is it going to rain tomorrow? Am I going to worry about that? No. Maybe I'll focus on the fact that I can put a rain jacket on or use an umbrella. So the focus, as Amy brings up, is such a huge, huge piece of the puzzle. And the third piece is action. It's like, what can you do to move forward in a way that's going to be helpful to you? So as I just mentioned, if you're worried about the rain, just say, okay, well, I can put an umbrella on, right? Jack, we've mentioned this before. Like, you've jumped out of an airplane, what, twice?
Yeah, unfortunately, only twice. I would do it every day if I could.
Okay, so just context: skydiving, not like I just jumped out of an airplane, commercial airlines. So how did you, like, is there any kind of analogy or parable from skydiving and worry to taking action and that alleviating that worry?
Well, yeah, I wanted to, taking action is huge because, again, we can take action with the mindset of worry and it's still going to be the wrong action, right? So we have to shift our thoughts because we think of our daily habits of like what we're doing, but it all starts with our thoughts. Like, we really got to break the pact of our daily thought habits, like, immediately. That's all mindset. So when I went to jump out of a plane, it's not like I went and said, hey, I want to jump out of a plane, and they just strapped a parachute on me and pushed me out in the next 15 minutes. There was a half a day of training, and I was jumping with someone attached to me that was an expert, right? So it's like I prepared, right? And I took the worry out because I said, okay, I'm going to learn this. I'm going to do that. They're going to be attached. They're going to do everything. God forbid one of us faints and neither of us, or we bonk heads. And these are all things that could happen, right? And we're both knocked out. I know there's an emergency chute that's going to open at 700 feet. We're going to hit the ground probably at 25 miles an hour, but that's better than hitting the ground at 200 miles an hour, right? There's all these things that they tell you and warn you and you sign your life away. But I went into it because I'm a junkie on the excitement side of it, right? I'm a junkie on the side of like, I'm not going to worry about what happened 3 days ago with someone else and their accident. I'm going to do this for me now. Like, the chances of anything happening to me are very low. The chance of me like getting in a car accident are higher or greater, right? So there's a lot you can look at around that, but it's all perception going into it, right? There's people that would say, Stephanie would probably say this, I would never jump out of a plane. Like, that's something she would never do, right? So, and that's okay because that's Stephanie. So she's not going to worry about it because she's never going to put herself in that situation. But you guys have control of the situation you're in. Like when Amy said earlier, like and even Yuri, you're worrying about things that are out of your control. Well, yeah, that's really silly. But what's even more silly is worrying about things that are in your control. Like, you have the choice to take action today, or you have a choice to stay in bed and ho-hum from about all these things that could have gone wrong or are going wrong, instead of you just shifting, pivoting, taking action. Even just the slightest step of getting out of bed and saying, I'm going to sit down and review something, or I'm going to sit down and watch another module, or I'm going to sit down and I'm going to sign up and talk to my coach because I need to get the heck out of my head today. And I need to reset my framework. So, I mean, it just all boils down to really the taking action, but our thoughts. Like, I won't sign anybody up for a program if they're not in the right mindset, because I don't want them to be a squeaky wheel in our group. Like, we like people who want help and who are saying, hey, this is broken, or hey, these numbers are great, but I want to make them better. We like that type of noise. But those people are already going into the course, and you don't want people in your programs like this either. This is why we have applications. This is why we screen people. This is why we have a perfect client pipeline, right? It's awesome. But when it comes down to really at the end of the day, you want people enrolled, and this is why you all are here, because you came in with the right mindset. You didn't know how the hell you're going to do this, but this is why you hired coaching. You knew we had the framework. You knew we had generous amount of support from every angle. And you knew that we're going to show you what to take action on. It's your choice to take action on it, right? Yeah. So I think I went off on a tangent there, Yuri, but you can bring us back.
Okay, so let's just recap the three things we talked about. We talked about, in terms of overcoming worry, it's expecting and accepting uncertainty. It's focusing on the right thing, so focusing on what you want, and then taking action as a result of that. And there's probably a number of other things too. Like, I think one of the things that is kind of embedded in my I don't know if it's this, it's probably something I've trained over the years, is just everything's going to be great. Just expect everything to work out for you, because guess what's going to happen? It will, right? And if you're expecting things to work out for you, you're attracting situations and experiences and results that are going to confirm that. And it's, I don't know if I'm trying to remember if it's cognitive bias or whatever it is. Like, if you think that things are going to be shitty, you will find things to confirm that. If you think that things are going to work out, you will find things that are going to confirm that. And that is not something you have to pay for. That is a decision you make internally to be like, I just believe everything is going to work out no matter what. And this goes back to what we talked about before. Like, everything is happening for you, not to you. Everything is happening because of you, right? You are a creator. Everything you put out into this world, into this universe, is going to come back to you with whatever intention and energy you set out there with that initial intention. So, again, we wanted to talk about this because worry doesn't serve you. It just, again, it's like that rocking chair analogy. You're going back and forth in the same place. Like, you're not moving forward at all. And we're here to help you guys move forward, because that's all you can do, right? Like, you're either growing or you're dying. And we want to help you guys move forward with confidence. So this past Saturday, we had a 4-hour sales training marathon. Like, I couldn't believe how fast 4 hours flew by. Like, it was insane. And this is something that I wanted to do because we want to equip all of our clients with more confidence to have enrollment calls that are effective, right? If someone has 10 calls and 0 bookings, that has nothing to do with this process doesn't work. That has 100% to do with you on the phone. And you have to understand that, right? But if you take ownership of the fact that, man, I suck on the phone, I'm going to improve my skills, that's cool, because now you can speak with 10 people and maybe enroll 3 or 4, completely different business as a result of that. So going back to taking action on things you can control, for us, we have a sales training meeting every single morning because we understand that being able to have effective conversations with people is something we control. We can't control what someone's going to say, but we control how we can respond to it. So if we can train that ahead of time, and going back to what you said, Jackie, about you don't just jump out of an airplane, like, you train to jump out of the airplane. So training beats trepidation, action beats anxiety. It's the same reason why athletes visualize so much, so that there's no surprises. Like, you guys know, I love F1 racing, and these guys, they visualize the entire racetrack. They have 21 races every year, different racetracks. Obviously, they do the same racetracks every year. But do you think these guys are going 300 kilometers an hour around a racetrack they've never been on? No. They're going to go in a simulator. They're going to know every single corner. They're going to visualize in the car. You can see them sometimes. They have their eyes closed and they're actually moving their body to mimic the course and its turns. And the same thing happens for you guys in your business. Is you want to mimic what is the race course of my life, of my business, and train every single day to get better at that, so there are no surprises. Because prediction is one of the first signs of mastery. And the better you get at predicting what could happen and preparing for that, the better off you're going to be. And then you don't have to worry about stuff. So, any final words of wisdom, guys, before we finish off?
So, Yuri, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, it's always predicting and expecting the best, right? Like, if we can plan ahead, and like Stephanie said too, accepting and expecting, for that uncertainty is one thing, but also planning and accepting what you can predict on your own, that's power. And that can only happen in coaching. That can only happen with a perfect client pipeline and a framework. So you're here and you have it, which is awesome. This is why everybody's here. And if you're on the podcast, you can be here too, right? You don't have to be lost in la la land, but the power is in the coaching. It's not a video course, right? Yeah, so that's my final thoughts. Like, you have to know, if you're going to take action, make sure it's taking action on the proven system. Don't just be, spinning your wheels.
Absolutely. And I think just to add to that is to check your attitude, check where your focus is, because we had the Women's World Cup skiing here at Killington this weekend. So our little tiny town of 800 people had 20,000 people here. But when you listen to the athletes, it is an amazing, amazing event. And Michaela Schifrin is this is her home course, and she got knocked off the podium on Saturday, and she had just such a great attitude. She had so much fun. It's so exciting. It's such a great crowd here. And she won on Sunday. She came in first, but she never lost her bright attitude. She never lost her gratitude. The course Saturday it was cold. Sunday it was like spring skiing, not good for racers, but they didn't lose their attitude. And if you're into skiing at all, look it up. All these women have these huge smiles on their faces, and they're keeping their attitudes there. And it's just check yourself, take your focus, and you've got this.
Check yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's really good. That's why I love sports, because it's always such a really great analogy for business and life. Ali is saying here in the group, I love these videos. I stopped in my tracks while doing my morning burpees to sit in front of this video. Thank you. You're all so well versed, and I believe I'll get there too. 100%. You said the key word is belief. That's all you have to do, guys. If you believe it's going to work out, it's going to work out. Okay? So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this one. If you're in the group, awesome. If you're watching the video, great stuff. If you're listening to this on the podcast, remember to head on over to our free training, the 7-Figure Health Business Blueprint. It's over at healthpreneurgroup.com/training. Go through it. If you like what you see and you like what we're talking about here, then hey, by all means, book a call with us. If you're serious about taking your expertise or your existing coaching business and taking it to the next level, we'd be happy to help you. So guys, thank you so much for showing up and sharing your wisdom with us. And we look forward to speaking with you guys in the next episode. Ciao.
Bye.